going on, everyone? Biz here with another Division 2 video. As you all may be well aware, later this week is E3, and barring a major surprise, it looks like no news will be coming from the devs about Division 2. Well, this is truly disappointing. I am hopeful that when they show us some stuff, it will be substantial and of value to the Division universe. In the meantime, this video is here to show an explosive new build and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum. As always, if you're new here, so glad you joined us today. You guys viewing and engaging with the content I'm putting out really means a lot. Do me a favor, and if you like what you see, answer this question in the comments below. When do you think we'll see the first looks at Heartland and new Division 2 content? While you chew on that, let's get into it. So today's build is going to be a little different for me, as normally I gravitate towards power DPS builds and sometimes the occasional tank build. Going off my own meta has got me exploring the potential depth there is in skill builds. I think part of my aversion to skill builds was I found them to be too easy and almost casual in nature. The idea of just sitting back and letting the build do the work had me asking my trusty M1A, who hurt you enough to let this happen? During the last non-rerun season, the devs introduced some pieces that had me and a good chunk of the community thinking twice about the casual nature of skill builds. Take the capacitor, for example, with the capacitance talent. I think I said that right. This gun, when landing shots, gives you a buff of 1.5% skill damage that maxes at 40 stacks. Also, if that wasn't enough to sway the DPS guys, I need a little more than that. You gain 7.5% or half a red core for every yellow core equipped. What? This gun alone makes skill builds one of the most efficient and effective means of total overall damage. But we're just getting started on this weird train to skill build McBoomtown. Welcome to McBoomtown. Try a special sauce. Another misconception that I talked about earlier was that skill builds were easy to make. While we're going to have a series on how I think out my builds later this month, my immediate assumption was always to throw in a technician specialization and slap as many yellow cores on the build as possible. What I've learned now is that damage derived from skills are almost on a spectrum, and damage can be buffed from focusing on status effects and even explosive damage. Enter this new build. Now this is something I've pulled into the DZ and got work done with it. It also is good on heroic content and anywhere you need things to go boom. To begin this setup, we're on a demolitionist specialization. Now there are a lot of reasons to use this spec, the main one being access to the mortar turret and the turret mods, which we'll get to in a bit. You also get buffs to explosive damage and a team buff to any targets out of cover. Overall, this build is running 5 yellow cores and 1 red core. We also see a mix of both yellow and red attributes to support any and all outgoing damage. On the weapon side of things, we are running a clinic in weapon talents for skills. Firstly, we have the capacitor. Big reason that's our main is the buffs to both skill damage and core attributes. I'm basically getting 2.5 red cores with that gun equipped alone. In the secondary spot, we have the named rifle, the Harmony. This gun has perfectly in sync on it, which allows your skills to buff your weapon damage and your weapon to buff your skill damage. If you can hit the perfect note, those damage increases double when both buffs are active. Finally, I need to go over the pistol, as I've recently become this great pistol connoisseur. The pistol, the TDI card custom, gives me an extra skill tier when equipped. We also got very lucky and got future perfect as the talent. As my 5 skill tiers plus 1 from the card leave me a top skill tier, kills with this gun will overcharge my skills for 15 seconds. Absolutely dirty. Moving into the gear, we have a 3-piece Empress International and 2 pieces of Hannah U, complementing a waveform exotic holster. Initially, I wanted to put a China Light holster, but when making the setup, I realized I am very light on holsters. That being said, I wouldn't sleep on the waveform. I made a video on it a while back, and it's still lethal if you get the rhythm right. Those 3 pieces of Empress International will give us bonuses to skill health, skill damage, and skill efficiency, which is essentially like weapon handling's skill build cousin. The 2 pieces of Hannah U will give us bonuses to skill haste and skill damage. With the addition of attributes, which are rolled to skill damage and critical hit damage, we are seeing a 77.8% buff to our skill damage without any of the weapon talents. My God, whoever we hit's gonna need some milk or liquid death mountain water, if you guys are watching. I'm a water shill now. This is my main arc. Even if it takes me 7 seasons, I'm gonna get some free canned water. Hashtag murder your thirst. The rest of this build is in the chest and backpack talents. And here, I went with combined arms that will increase my skill damage by 30% as long as I'm firing. Then we went with Unbreakable for some survivability to round everything out. You always got to have a reserve shoot. And Unbreakable is that for me. So now that the build is out on the table, what skills will we use to absolutely crush our enemies' bones to dust? We need something that will be super destructive and also add a ton of production value. We're going to go Mortar Turret. This turret is only usable in the Demolitionist specialization, and it launches ordnance like a mini cannon on a pirate ship at your enemies. Thanks to all the build buffs, we see PvE damage at 3.1 million per shell, and the PvP damage at about 785,000 per shell. Oh! Keep in mind, that doesn't include the capacitor buff, in sync, the chance we get overcharged from the card, all that. Combined arms, or the wave. When we add those buffs in the mix, well, just, I don't know, duck and cover? I don't know. Now to support this absolute death machine, we need something to peel our enemies off cover, should the need arise. Enter the Cluster Seeker Mines. These Seekers will break off into 8 separate little roly-polies and cause a ton of damage. More importantly, they'll bust any enemy's bunker and get some splody fun into those hard-to-reach places. Overall, this build is disgusting in any situation you put it in. I hope you use this as another tool when you encounter a pesky stack in conflict, or if you just want to see some crazy ragdoll in your favorite PvE activity of choice. Either way, we're going to wrap things up here. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe for more Division content. And hopefully, more than just some builds soon enough. I'll catch y'all next time. Biz out.